I'm the guy who always tell them no, like don't do it, right? It's gonna be the worst business to start in today's date, and it's gonna be harder and harder in the future. Hey guys, Wayne here. What do you think is the worst business to start in today's date? I think nowadays it's just a thing that everybody's saying that I want to start a business, I want to make more money, I want to get this financial freedom. And I 100% agree with that. I'm the person who's also going after those values. And me as a guy who's also very into those business and making money and all those things, and someone who started a business a couple of years ago, I 100% agree with those values. From what I researched, from the things that I read, the things that I studied, when I see people around me, when they say they want to start a business, or when they're starting a business, they're like, oh, I'm good at cooking, I want to open a restaurant. I enjoy making coffee, so I'm going to open a coffee shop. Maybe I'm from food industry, so I have a lot of people around me who want to start a food business, but maybe that's why I have a lot of people like that. I don't know about you guys. Maybe you're from software background, you're from like a marketing background, maybe you're a carpentry background. I don't really know, but from my experience, because I have chef background, I have a lot of people around me who is into food industry, F&B industry, right? So when people say they want to open a restaurant, they want to open a coffee shop, I'm the guy who always tell them no, like don't do it, right? In this video, I want to emphasize, I want to say to everybody that restaurant business and coffee business, like cafe business, the food business in general is gonna be the worst business to start in today's date. And it's gonna be harder and harder in the future. And this insight, these are the things that I personally realized and researched from the things that I learned from my coaches and mentors and all the case studies and my personal experience as well. So I'm just sharing those things in this video. So I'm not saying I'm 100% right. This is universal because there are a lot of food businesses that are successful. And I also want to share that what are the differences, how you can leverage your skills to make your food business successful too. The first main reason why restaurant business is the worst business to start is one of the very typical business that has the highest startup cost and the lowest profit margin. So it costs so much money to start, but even while you operate, you have a very low profit margin. I don't really know about like other physical businesses, but I know for sure that restaurant business, coffee business, in general, food and beverage business has highest startup cost, and the profit margin rate is so low that I wouldn't recommend this kind of business model to anybody else, especially when it's their first business. And the second point is, if you are already a food business owner, you might have realized already, but you know, in food business, there are too many fields of study that have to come together other than just food. And mainly there are three. The first is food or beverage, whatever that you're selling is either coffee or food. The product itself, you have to learn deep enough that you have that professional expertise enough to create it and offer to the market, right? You need to have that deep enough knowledge. But the second one is branding and marketing. Many people who fall into this food business, they literally don't give a shit about branding and marketing. When they actually open a business, there are a lot of restaurants and cafes that just shut down because of this branding and marketing. While they already have this nice product, they're offering something really nice, they fail because of this branding and marketing. Third one is architecture and space design. And this might sound weird, right? Like, why on earth do you have to learn about architecture and space design when it comes to food business? That is something that I want to elaborate in this video too. But let me get into that later. Let me just go back to the first point and share my insights with you guys. So the point about high startup cost and low profit margin. And if you guys want to make an argument that every type of business has high startup cost and there's low profit margin, every business like that, and the answer is no. There are business models that cost almost no money and can give you infinite returns. There are a lot of people doing that. Those models exist. I failed 4 businesses, right? I failed 4 times, and my 5th one right now is kind of growing, it's kind of working a lot better than the other 4. I'm not saying that this 5th one is going to be successful, it's going to be $1 million business. I've seen quite a lot of success compared to the last 4. The reason why I saw some of the success that I have in my 5th business is because I failed the first 4. I learned my lessons from the first 4, right? The lesson that you guys need to learn is your first business or your second business or even your third business will fail. I'm not trying to discourage you guys here, but your first business will fucking fail. Whatever you're gonna do is going to fucking fail. Not because your business sucks, it's because your skills suck. It's because your lack of skills, your lack of learning, your lack of knowledge. And this knowledge and skills include your execution power, your willpower, your character traits, your personality. I believe every one of those is included in skills. So let's just accept the fact that your first business is going to fail, right? You're starting your first business knowing that it's going to fail. But you're putting effort, you're putting time, you're putting your money because you believe that your fifth one, your sixth one, your seventh, your eighth one is going to be successful while you build up your skills on your journey, right? That's the reason why you do it. Strategically, what is smarter option to choose from? High startup cost and low profit margin business, or low startup cost and high profit margin business? What do you think is the right option? Of course, low startup cost with high profit margin. You guys might be asking, what the fuck is that, right? So when I say high profit margin, it doesn't mean that you make tons of money. When you invested $100,000 in restaurant and you're generating $10,000 every single month and you have 10% profit margin, you're making $1,000 a month investing $100,000, right? So you invest $100,000, you're getting back $1,000 every single month. And if you say, oh, that number is fake. Food business, average food business profit margin is less than 20 to 15%. If you go out to a random restaurant, if they actually tell you how much they're making, I can 100% guarantee you they're making less than 15% profit margin. So 10% profit margin, I'm not even exaggerating. You invest $100,000, you're making $10,000 revenue, and you're making $1,000 of profit margin every single month. How long is it going to take you to make that money back? 10 years? So is that actually worth it? Or you invest $0, build an online business that has zero initial cost, maybe few $100s of like subscriptions and some online products and shit like that, right? And make $3,000 a month of revenue, where you can take 80% of that as your profit margin. That's just the same amount of money that you would make from your full-time job. There's not really much overhead cost. There's no much investing cost. There's no much startup cost. So if you're making $3,000 of revenue and you're taking 80% of that, you're literally making more than this restaurant, and you invested $0. And this kind of model exists. But the thing is, in this model, if you don't harness your skills properly, if you don't spend your time wisely to learn and to hone, to craft your skills properly, your revenue won't increase. Obviously, you're running food business that has 10% profit margin, and you're running this online business at the same time where it makes 80% profit margin. It costs a lot less money. It costs almost $0 to create and run this business, but you're learning the same amount of skills, same amount of knowledge while you're operating this business. So which is more economical, which is more smarter option? Obviously the second one. I'm not trying to recommend you any type of business model, like you should start an agency, you should start dropshipping, you should start this and that. I'm not trying to say those kind of things. When you're first starting out, you should pick a model that has low startup cost and have high profit margin model. Even though you lose everything, you still learn those skills and knowledge. That's what you want to do with your first business. If you're not ready, if you are not skilled enough, you don't have enough knowledge, and your first business, you pick food business, restaurant business, cafe, good luck. The second point that I want to share with you guys is when you look at food business, there are three things that they're actually selling. So the first one is obviously the food or the drinks. The second one is marketing and branding. So most people don't realize when they consume products or when they consume food, they're also consuming their brand. They're also consuming their marketing. You're buying their thing because you like the way they market or you like the way they present their products. You guys are consuming their brand. You guys are consuming their marketing. The third one that they sell is architecture and space design. This might not apply to McDonald's or KFC. People don't go there to see some great architecture or see some great space design or interior design. They're not there for experience, but there are a lot of restaurants that are selling interior design and space design, the experience as in general, to people, not just food. So imagine you're paying for $100 for a steak. Imagine you're paying for $30 for a burger, or even $150, $200, $500 for a dinner. You're not just paying for food, you're paying for something else. You're paying for the environment, you're paying for the service, you're paying for the experience. The most important factor that designs that experience is a space design. And restaurant in the past, or even now, might be a place to go and eat. I personally don't believe that restaurant is just a place to eat, and it's also becoming more and more of one-of-a-kind place where people spend their precious time instead of spending their time in online space. If you think about it, if you are hungry and you're at your home or you're working, after this whole AI thing and this online, market has grown, people have now less reason to go out and actually dine because they could simply order deliveries, they could cook at home. There are many ways for them to solve their food problems. There are many ways, literally. So if they were to go out and dine, meet their friends, meet their partners, having a good time, like they need stronger reasons for them to go outside and enjoy that space. So if people choose to spend their time in offline spaces like restaurants instead of spending their time in online spaces like this in TikTok or Instagram or Netflix, they need stronger reason to be in the physical spaces. And space design and architecture is a study about all the components that visually please people. So that's why I actually included architecture. But anyways, they need stronger reason, and architecture and space design can solve this problem. I already mentioned about this in the last video, so give it a watch, because these 3 reasons are the main reasons why I didn't start my first business as a restaurant, even though I have enough skills to do so. I have 10 years of chef background, which I have enough skills, cooking skills, to run a restaurant, but I didn't do it, obviously, because of these 3 reasons. As I learned more, as I studied more about business and physical business and in restaurant, food business in general, I realized that there are more way behind than just food and beverage. When I used to work at this restaurant, when my chef was trained by this Michelin 3-star restaurant, which his skills were amazing, when he opened his first restaurant, I obviously wanted to work there, and I went there to work with a minimum wage and actually worked there. And that was the turning point where I realized that, wow, like your cooking skills don't actually matter, because I believed that good food is equal to good business. But I realized that that is not true, because they shut down after a year and a half. So they went out of business. So I was very, very shocked. I learned a big lesson there that your cooking skill is not something that matters. So that was the point where I actually deep dive into more about business. And these are the 3 things that I realized that restaurants were actually selling. So if I think about it, out of these 3 things, food, marketing, and space design, what is the most efficient way of learning these 3 skills in a short period of time, right? Instead of just being a marketer in a big company or being an architect in a big company, going to school again and graduate, getting an architect degree, like what is the most efficient way of learning these things, right? My choice was to build an online business, online marketing business for restaurants. So that way I can serve more restaurants. I can learn more about restaurant businesses while serving more and more restaurants, providing them the services that they need. Because when I can scale that business to whatever size, $10,000, $1 million size, whatever it is, that means I have the skill to utilize when I actually open my own restaurant in the future. That was the first thought that came to my mind, that it was so easy to make a decision that, oh, I need to start a marketing agency for restaurants. And this marketing agency has 0 startup cost. It basically costs you a few $100s a month to maintain like all the subscriptions and the softwares and shit like that. But you basically need nothing, especially when you work alone, when you're freelancing, and you can learn shitload of knowledge about marketing and branding. So that was the move that I took. I don't know about you guys. That was the whole point that I wanted to make in this episode, that your first business should never be a physical restaurant or a coffee shop. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, got a lot of insights. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.